recording. I
Yeah,
keep on
honestly,
forgetting this.
like, just review it later.
So I guess the main concepts in modeling that you should realize if you're not a modeler is just that everything is basically a bunch of vertices connected together by edges. And when four edges come together, three or four edges come together. When three edges come together, it's a triangle. When four edges come together, it's a rectangle.
Really? Wow, really?
Exactly, I know. It was like when I first learned that, I was like dumbfounded for like a day.
Wait, no. If four edges come together, it could be a square, or a rhombus, or a trapezoid.
No. Those things don't exist, Tipper. I'm not sure where you learned those things from.
You're right.
Uniquely rectangle.
Fake.
Okay, see, there's different things that you can do. In Blender, you can do both modeling and animation. And one of the key, I guess, buttons you'll always be using is 1, 3, 7, and 9 on the keyboard. So, or not on the keyboard, on the numpad.
But I don't have a numpad. I'm using a laptop.
Well, then you
have
You still
numbers
have
somewhere.
numbers. You still have numbers. Don't say you don't have numbers on that fucking laptop.
No,
I'm just
the
asking,
numbers
does it
don't
make
work.
a difference if it's like numpad specifically or just?
Yeah, there is a
Number.
difference. So if you can't do that,
Are they
then
numpad specific, really?
yes, they're numpad specific.
That's so stupid.
No, it's not stupid because most
I
modeling
guess I'll use my
programs are
other
worth several
laptop, which for some reason
$1,000s.
does have a
So
numpad.
Yeah.
I'm going.
okay, so yeah,
And then
yeah, most modeling programs are worth several $1,000s. So like, if you're doing serious modeling, you should at least have a full keyboard. So if you can't do that, you can access it through here on the left in the view tab. So the main things I guess you want to worry about are, if you don't have a numpad, you have to use this to look at each of the different views. Mouse
maybe you can
wheel,
rewind them.
mouse wheel drags and rotates. If you do shift and then press the mouse wheel down, then you move to left to right. So right clicking is selecting, but you can change that to left click instead. The way you do that is you go over here and go to user preferences, and you go to input, and all the way down here. Select with left or right. Right is the default, but left is just more natural. And what else? Like, I think there's a way for you to start just by connecting vertices together, but I'm not sure how to do that. So what I usually do is I do an add, and then I start with either a box, so go to mesh, and you go to a cube, or you go to add, mesh, and a plane. So I usually start with either one or the other. And what you can do with this is you can, well, first of all, let's rotate this so we can actually see it from the front view. So when you rotate, you use R. And as you can see, you can freely control that. But you can also type in a specific value. If you look at the bottom left, you can see a ROT and the angle that it's at right now. So if you type in 90, then it automatically does it for you. Hey. So let's see, we're looking at the surface of a plane and a surface of a cube at the moment. So if we go to wireframe mode, what wireframe mode is Z, is then you no longer see the surface of it, you only see the edges. So this is really useful if you have a solid object or a solid face that you want to see through. When you select an object, most of the time it will be in object mode, but if you press tab, then it'll be in edit mode. As you can see in edit mode, you can see all the vertices. They're the square dots at the edges of the plane in this case. So in order to select things, you can either directly click on them with your left click or right click depending on what option you prefer. You can shift click to do like to select multiple of them at once. To reset your selection so that you're not selecting anything, you can press A. If you press A again, you'll select everything. and then once again it goes to nothing. If you want to box select, you can press B and just highlight which ones you want to control. And notice how this thing automatically is still in multi-select. Once again, let's go press A and go back to normal. So let's say you want to segment this. Then you can do Control R and hover close to the edge or the midpoint of where you want to segment. And at this stage, when you see the purple line appear, you can scroll the mouse wheel up or down to increase or reduce the number of segments that you want respectively. You can have an infinite amount of segments. Just makes your eye spin.
A
Well, that's a little bit
lemniscate amount.
maybe not a Lemniscanian amount, but a decent amount nonetheless. So once you left click, it will be set. And then you can select where you want to place this segment, in a sense. And then you can right click here, and everything will go back to normal. Also, if you press Alt, and it's this is called an, okay, so this is not an edge loop because this is a plane, but let's bring out another mesh. A UV sphere. So as you can see, this UV sphere is perfectly round. And let's say you wanted to just adjust one edge of the sphere. So as you see, what I just did there was I selected, I had Alt pressed, and then I left clicked. Alt and left click. And then you can control that. I don't know why Alt is not appearing on the keys, but that's what you do. You hold Alt and left click to select a loop. Then you can move that loop whenever you want, however you want. You can rotate that just like anything else. G is for translations. And if you want to rotate R, for example, and currently you're already kind of locked on one axis, but you can press X to rotate it in a different axis, Y, or Z. Same thing with using G and translocating. No, not translocating, translating. You can press X to just move it along the X-axis, Y to move it on the Y-axis. We're currently looking at the Y-axis, so that's why you can't see anything. And then Z to move it just up and down, for example. If you want to scale something with, you just press S, you increase the size. This will scale it on X, Y, and Z. But if, once again, if you just want to scale X, you can press that, or Y, or Z. Yep. And that's pretty much the main controls. And edge loops, yeah, this is pretty much edge loop. If you go to edge loop and then you select loop inner region, it'll go to the ones that get smaller and smaller. So if you select here, for example, it'll be on the other side. Whoops, select the wrong button. Yep, so it's on the inner side, or the one with the less vertices. And let's see, is there anything else I have to say? Oh yeah, let's go back to our segmenting example here. So in Blender, you can do a lot with, first I'm going to delete the sphere for a moment. If you look at this example over here once again, and let's go out of what's it called? Out of wireframe mode. So now you can see the full plane itself. And let's say you want to shape this in the shape of an eye. Now let's do this through another thing that I'm currently working on, and that is creating the eye for this thing right here. So first of all, let's deselect all of this and make the current eye invisible, as well as the sphere for, where is it? Okay, make this invisible. So let's start with a plane. We go to add, mesh, and plane. Now we go to the side. Let's rotate this 90 degrees so that it's flat on our screen. And we can look at the size. The size is a bit too big, so let's go S and scale this down. Okay, that should cover the face a decent amount. Once we go over here, since everything is still centered at the origin, we will immediately go, whoops. We will immediately, okay, first of all, I should display these screencast keys. Control R and split that in half. Oh, first of all, I have to be in edit mode. My bad. Control R and then click it right in the middle. You'll get it dragged. So then you use the other mouse key. Like usually you use right click is the basic one that will select where you move it. But in this case, since left click is the one that selects it, I just right click and everything goes back to what it was initially. So once that's done, then you go over here. Let's see. You press A to deselect, then you go B and delete those vertices. So now you only have it on one side, and you can scale in the, if we look at this, the blue color is the z-axis, by the way. It might be a little bit covered. So let's say we want to outline the shape of the eye. Then we scale this down a bit, and you can left click the arrow, or with the default controls it's right click the arrow, and you can drag it as well. And let's just put it over here. Now one thing we can do is subdivide this further. Let's make this, one subdivision is good. And once again go A to deselect everything, and then box select these vertices and delete them. Now we can select this and move it closer to cover the eye. Scale this on the X direction now because it needs to be a bit larger. Right here. And then let's mirror this on the other eye. So as you can see, there's this thing that we haven't touched yet, and these are modifiers. These things can change your meshes or collections of vertices in a particular way. What we're going to do is we're going to use the mirror one. And as you can see, it mirrors it on the x-axis, and it just appears on the other side. So I'm just going to enable clipping because that's how I was taught in the tutorial. Now let's once again trace the shape of this eye. So let's go Control R and subdivide this even further. Let's go with 3 subdivisions this time. And let's go with, how about just 1 subdivision here. Now we don't want the things in the middle because there's no point in having extra vertices in the middle. So box select the ones in the middle and let's delete them. Then we start just moving these one by one.
So it's like tracing, but you move
Exactly.
tiny points.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this, whoops, should not have moved that in the other direction. And let's see, let's move this one down here. And this one over here. Okay, so this is a little bit of a little bit too sharp. So let's add another modifier called a subdivision surface. This kind of makes the entire thing have subdivides everything once. And as you can see, it kind of smooths things out. So now let's edit this thing a little bit further. I guess we can drag this down a bit. Actually, no, let's not do that. Let's just keep with this format. Okay. Okay, over here we want this like that. And how about over here? Let's just adjust this up a tiny bit.
Wait, why do you want the subdivision surface thing instead of just like, I don't know, making more vertice thingies at first?
Because the subdivision surface kind of makes it a little bit easier.
But the subdivision surface is like decided based on the original vertices you have, or like I don't get what it's doing.
It's based on the original vertices you have, pretty much. So now if we go here and let's see. Now you can see we have the outline of the eye. And later on you just go to the other view, the side view, and you drag it forward. And you kind of move these vertices out even further to make sure that it's actually kind of like a 3D view. Don't want to move it too far because this image is actually super distorted. That looks pretty nice. Oops. So maybe something like this, for example. So something like this would be, I guess, pretty good. For the eye. And then I guess we'll do something with the sphere as well to show you guys what I did to create that. So you have the sphere, obviously it's too big. Scale it down a little bit, or much smaller, around this size. And let's go over here to this one. And now we're going to do something new. Let's just select, or Control Shift, Shift S, and cursor to selected. So the cursor, the 3D cursor, is now at this point, and we can move things with respect to different pivot points. And this time we're going to set the pivot point to the 3D cursor. So as we have this edge loop selected, we're going to select inner loop boundary region, and then scale it. So this is not the thing we want. We want it to bend inwards for this part. So just scale the Z, and then boop. Now it's going inside. So let's do a -1 here. And now we have the inner works. Now let's take the entire thing, rotate it. Oh, whoops. It's still connected. Have to redo this thing. Scale it down. Go to here, select inner loop region. Shift S, move the cursor there. Then select inner loop region, scale Z, -1. Okay. Now the sphere is its own object. Let's rotate this object. Not with reference to here, but with reference to itself. So let's rotate this 270, I think it was. Yep, 270. Now it's facing forward. So this kind of looks a little bit like our eye. Not perfectly the same. So let's do something here with it. C. Oh, edit mode. And select this and then Control B. Okay, you probably can't see this, so I'll just zoom in a bit more. I'm doing Control B, and this creates a bezel. So it separates one thing into two. And that should be pretty much good. Then I'll take the outer ring here and extrude it outwards. Not extrude outwards, extrude it inwards. Okay. Extrude, scale. If I can select this correctly. Extrude, scale, Z, was it? How about Y? Okay, medium point. Extrude S. Okay, here we go. So let's take a quick moment to look back at our reference image and see there's one outer circle for the pupil. Let's make these invisible for a moment so we can actually see clearly. So we have one outer circle, one inner circle, and it seems like another circle in here. So we need 3 circles in total. Let's go back to our sphere. We have our outer circle already. That's there. Okay, so extrude, scale. We have 1. Do it again. 2 and 3. So now you can see there's multiple layers here. Now we can manage these by going to Z and whoops, not doing that. Extrude, scale, and I think it's 0. Yep, 0. So it goes all the way into the middle. So let's take everything, move it around. Okay, so it's a little bit small for the outer ring because we put the bezel there to make it easier to see for us. So let's scale this up. It's a little bit too big. Maybe this size will do. Then we select our first ring. And actually it seems like the size is pretty much perfect. Maybe move it a little bit out there. Then we go to our next ring. Whoops. Right here. And scale that a little bit larger. And maybe we didn't need this inner ring, so let's delete this really quick. And delete this vertex in the middle. Go back here, extrude, E, scale, and 0. And now we have our eye completed. Of course, there's no texturing done yet. That requires UV mapping. I'm not familiar enough with UV mapping controls in Blender yet, so I can't show that to you, unfortunately. And let's make this a little bit more eye-shaped. Oh no.
Why do you need the extra like stuff that goes in on the inside?
Okay, so
That's how ice works.
this is how they showed it in the tutorial. As I said, I'm not a animator myself, or I'm not a modeler myself, so I can't say why necessarily it was done like this. Let's see, home. Okay, home does center it on here. So let me try something and see if it helps. Rotate X maybe? No, that doesn't really help. 0? Nope. 90. 90? Okay, definitely not this one. $145. Okay, rotate Z. I think this is it. Ah, nope. Alright, wait, is this 0? Okay, I guess that's it. And let's move the light source over here in front. And once we do that, hopefully that shows you, it didn't really work. Usually what would happen is the outer layer looks a little bit transparent, as you saw when we were extruding. So if you go over here and you go to, let's see, edit mode, here, and you go out back, extrude, and you scale, like you can see what this color is. See, that's the color that it will appear as. But I feel like you might not need it. Whoops, I should stop moving around. And this is how you pretty much do the eye. And so let's combine the eye with the iframe together. Let's go home. Whoops. Let's see, is two things selected here? Ah, still not really used to these controls. Okay, so you can see how it's a little bit off. So let's go to the side view. Ah, totally have not zoomed out this far. Okay, this is much better now. So let's move our sphere into the eye socket pretty much and have it line up approximately right here, but a little bit lower. Look at the front view and we can see that it's already kind of clipping in. So we want to select here again and go back to editing it in the edit mode. Look at the top and drag some of these vertices out. Okay, we can move this one more inwards. Of course, this is something that's really rough right now. And then what you do after this is you select this entire thing and extrude it outwards. Let's see, do we want X or Y? Yeah, maybe just scale it. Bit over here, and then I guess you take this vertice, this vertice, this vertice, this vertice, and then you E is for extruding, by the way. X over here, so that's connected in the middle. Go to the side, look at how all of these vertices don't really make much sense. Select this part over here, start pulling it out. And you start shaping. Of course, you go back over here and you extrude this out upwards as well. And make sure you extrude this completely vertically so that you have a bit more control. Oh, actually, whoops, that was my bad. Move that way too much. Let's see, extrude Z, 1, 2, 3. Maybe this is enough. So we had this. Now let's move this one up here and here and like that. So you keep on doing that until you get the entire face. And I'm not even that far yet, so I guess this is where we mainly, I guess we stop for today. Any questions?
Wow, this was cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Actually, I had no idea how modeling works at all, and this was quite enlightening.
Okay, so I guess to really simplify it down, you just move a bunch of vertices around and then you extrude them. Extrude meaning like you extend them in one direction or another on X, Y, or Z.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. You just shape the shapes that you start out with in the style that you want and work from there.
That's cool.
Marimi, I think you've done some of this stuff before, so I think you're the most familiar with it.
Yeah. I've never used like Blender. All I remember was like drawing the vertices myself through code. But it's similar enough. What I did was like just
Okay.
a lot harder in a way, but this is also like gives you more possibilities.
Mhm.
So it's interesting to see different perspectives of how to like draw the vertices and stuff.
Okay, that's good. Let's see. The nose would have been around here, I guess. And then over here, here, here. The mouth then goes out, then goes in, then the chin. Yep. So something like this, pretty much. You get the
Mhm.
side view, and then later on you have to edit these
Oh my
vertices
god.
and delete some.
So
add
it's so
some.
great.
It looks so creepy from the front.
Uh,
Oh my god.
okay, so let's see. How would we do this? B over here, scale it in the X direction. Okay, and then A, B over here, scale it once again in the X direction. Yeah. Over here. Okay, scale. Just move it inwards. This is quicker. Okay, B, and I guess one more over here. Scale in the X direction. And let's move these towards the center. So for example, something like this. Right? And that looks much more like what it would be. Of course, then you have to merge this into the middle, which, there you go. And then obviously you extrude the other ends as well, right? So as you can see, once you get started, it gets pretty quick, pretty fast. Of course, you'll probably end up with something really blocky, like what I have right here. But just use a little bit of scaling and moving vertices around, and you should be fine.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
I have none.
Nope.
Absolutely none. Not even idea what to ask.
I still think it looks creepy, but it's
Yeah.
cool in a way.
Well, let's see if I can do something right here. Brush. Let's see. Colors.
This one still colored eye makes it worse.
Yeah, it kind of just.
Let's see. Image mapping, custom properties. Ramp, clamp. Is it text draw or is it this thing?
That's just a different color schemes thing, right?
There's like a dropper thing that I can use just on the image itself, and then I could just get that color. I'm just not sure how to exactly do it. Take a quick look at the video.
Mm,
So eventually you get stuff like this, which is amazing.
right. Yeah, that's nice.
Maybe after 10 years work.
No. Like you can have a crappy
No.
model within like a few days work.
Yeah, I believe a few days. I mean, it's still a few days is a lot. It's a lot of time spent just in front of a computer modeling, but
Wow, I want to play around with it.
Exactly. So all you need is Blender, by the way. Nothing else.
nothing else.
And I do not like waiting for videos to load, so I will cheat.
That is fair. Okay.
Speed 2x. This is already like 8x, so you can. By the way, as you can see, the hair is all planes. It's not actually a 3D surface. Let's see. When did they start adding? One thing to notice is like line control. Basically, when do you have multiple vertices converge together at one point?
Oh, right, yeah.
Or line flow, I think the term was. Let's see. I think they're coloring it in soon. Okay, somewhere here. So it's in the material. Okay. New material. Okay, surface, diffuse. Ah, there we go. Oops, that was not the color. Diffuse. There we go. The lighting is slightly off, but
But slightly better.
it looks slightly better. I'm not sure why this does this at the moment, but that can be figured
One
out
day
at a
we'll
later
know.
date.
And how can you color more details?
Excuse me?
How can you color more details? Like the eye colors? Something like this?
Let's see. Let's try it with the eye. Let's see, the sphere is here. And let's select only faces. So let's go over here and go to face select mode. And oh boy. So for example, we have this, and let's select only the color of the eyes. Oh my god, this is a bit difficult. Let's see. Material, new, material, diffuse color. Here. Okay, that changed it. I can't tell at the moment. Oh, I didn't. Oh, well, that's because this color is kind of not really a color. Let's see. How about here? Nope, that's no good. Let's see. Back to here, and let's choose the darker of the colors. It selects everything.
Oh,
I guess we
no.
have to do that through UV mapping and cutting it.
Mhm.
So in case you don't know what UV mapping is, it's basically where you lay out all the vertices that are used in your model, and you it's rotating in the eye socket. Yeah, this works. Okay, so you rotate, you cut things along the edges, like all of these lines are edges, so that you can control what color they are or what texture they use.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, it's the
It's just
normals?
a lot of numbers.
Let's see. The normals, I'm losing track of what is what.
There's so much
Uh,
on screen, yeah.
Flip, or no, normals. Wait, why is flip normals not there? Am I in the wrong mode? Maybe it's edit mode. And flip normals. It's not there. Oh well, I'll figure that out at a later time. This is pretty much just a tutorial for you guys.
Yeah.
Sounds
For
fair.
moving vertices and extruding, I guess.
Not too much
Mhm.
at once.
It's kind of like the
Otherwise,
basics.
we end up like Lemley.
Overloading the brain and then just not being able to understand anything.
Okay, any other questions before we end this recording? Oops.
Nope, I think I'm good. Makes Blender a little less intimidating.
Yeah, and the key inputs are all like there, so
Yeah.
you can see everything that appeared during the tutorial, and if you want to refer back to that.
Great.
And that's it for now, so I will stop the stream and stop recording.
Sounds good. I'm gonna get off and make some food.